Meet Emma, my fearless granddaughter. Ever since she was a little girl, she's been dreaming to fly. When her 16th birthday was coming, it was clear she needed a different kind of birthday present. Maybe this will get the bug out of her head.
Emma, you did it! Wow! Oh my God! You did it!
I did it! Oh my God! That was amazing!
How did it feel when you jumped out of the plane, the first thing?
I can't explain it. There's no words to explain it. It was the coolest thing I've ever done. They open the door and you see everything and they're like, okay, you're gonna jump now, and they push you out and you're just dropping. And it was the scariest thing that I've ever done.
And how about when the parachute opened? How was that?
When the chute opens, everything comes down. You're soaring in the sky and you see everything, and you're just in midair with the birds in the sky. That's what I felt like. I felt like a bird.
A bird!
A bird flying in the sky.
Wow, look at you, you're glowing.
It was the coolest thing I've ever done. Thank you, Grandpa.
You're welcome.
It was the best birthday present ever.
This excitement's made me hungry. How about you? You hungry?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Let's go get something to eat. Come on.
Wow. Thanks for letting me drive, Grandpa.
I'm so happy it's over and you're safe and sound.
Now I'm ready for my next challenge.
Oh no. I know that look. What now?
Nothing, it's just, when I was on the plane, I understood that skydiving is cool and all, but it's not the real thing.
I see. And the real thing is...
Learning to fly.
Learning to fly? Out of the question, Emma. You're too young. It's dangerous.
Come on, Grandpa. Just because you're afraid of flying doesn't make it dangerous.
I'm not afraid of flying. I'm just afraid of crashing. Look, Emma, flying a plane is complicated stuff. You know what?
What?
I'm willing to help you try to realize your dream.
Really? Grandpa, don't mess with me. Are you serious?
I'm always serious, but under my conditions, you'll not only learn how to fly a plane, you will learn how a plane flies. It'll help you enjoy flying more, and it'll help me keep my blood pressure down.
That's it? Those are your conditions? Well, all right, no problem.
Well, it's not so easy to learn how a plane flies, you know. For example, you've got to know how a certain wing structure is used for a specific model of a...
A wing is a surface which is used to create lift. Airplane wings are designed in various shapes according to the performance and speed required from the plane.
Okay, but that's only the beginning. I mean, you're going to have to learn a lot more than that, like how a motor works and what the flight controls are for and lots of other things.
Well, okay, teach me. I have till the end of summer.
What? Learn how a plane flies in a few weeks? No way. Took me years to understand it.
Well, maybe, because instead of using the internet, use that huge strange thing. What is it called again? A library?
Well, even with the internet, it's not enough time. I'm sure of it. In fact, I'm so sure of it, I'm willing to bet you that if you learn how a plane flies in a few weeks, well, I'll even...
Go on the plane with me.
You got it. Lucky for me, that's never going to happen. And if you don't, you'll finally come fishing with me?
Okay, fine. That seems like the appropriate punishment. I mean, the farthest thing from flying is floating on a wooden tub. Deal? So where do we start?
Learning to fly. Where'd you get this flying bug from, anyway?
Are you serious? It all started with stories that someone here told me. Icarus and Daedalus, remember?
You were 4 years old.
So? People have been dreaming to fly for thousands of years. I could have been dreaming about it for 12.
According to Greek mythology, Daedalus and his son Icarus were locked up in a tall tower. Daedalus, who was an inventor, planned their escape. He observed birds, and by their inspiration, designed wings out of feathers and wax. Before they took off, Daedalus warned his son Icarus not to fly too close to the sun. But Icarus couldn't stop. He kept going higher and higher, fascinated by the freedom to fly, until his wings began melting.
Okay, I've heard enough. I've heard enough.
Grandpa, think what an amazing feeling it is. One moment being on the ground and the next flying. Ever since I was 4, I've been thinking of that moment that Icarus took off.
Yeah, well, I mainly try not to think about that moment he landed.
Grandpa, who was the first real person to experience flying? You know, putting on wings and jumping.
Probably Otto Lilienthal. He specialized in building hang gliders, and he was one of the first aviation pioneers who thought about flying scientifically. He analyzed the wing structure of birds to figure out how they flew, and in 1889, he published his book, Bird Flight as the Basis of Aviation.
All right. Lilienthal was the first to discover that arch wings create lift. It actually sounds like I know what I'm saying, doesn't it?
Yeah, for a moment there, he had me convinced. Now, let me see. Lift is what enables birds and airplanes to stay up in the air. You see, the pressure differences on the wing creates a force that resists the Earth's gravitational pull. You understand?
I think.
Anyway, this was Lilienthal's great contribution.
Well, according to what it says here, his great contribution that he was the first to understand that he had not only designed the wing, but also tried it out for himself. In order to learn to fly, you must try to fly. Think what an amazing feeling it is, Grandpa, knowing that if you chase your dreams, you will be the first person to learn how to fly.
Yes. Lilienthal was the first person to design, build, and fly a winged aircraft in a controlled manner. And he consistently pursued his dream with more than 2,500 flights, during which time he documented his conclusions and gradually improved his performance.
He would have had many more flights if in 1896 he hadn't.
That's enough. Come on. You're going to have your first glider flight soon.
Glider?
Yes. And it would be a pity to stay up all night worrying about crashes.
Cool, Grandpa. This doesn't even look like Lilienthal's hang glider.
True. Gliders have come a long way since then. You see this glider's long wing? Mm-hmm. That's part of the optimal aerodynamic design. That's what allows it to stay up so long in the air.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And weight is also a critical factor. That's why today's gliders are made of composite materials that are both light and strong, like carbon fiber and Kevlar.
Look at this tiny wheel. Are you supposed to fit in this thing?
Oh, you'll make that. Hey, here's Josh, your pilot.
Hi.
I'll wait for you down here.
Well, it is a tiny cockpit, but you know what they say, good things come in small packages. You know what? I think they designed it especially for me. Gliders have no engine, so we were towed up by this small plane, which was fun. It was something like air skiing. Unlike skydiving, where you're falling, here, once you detach from the tow plane, you're really flying. You actually have wings. It was great. It's only been a week since our bet, and I found myself controlling a glider perfectly. Grandpa, you're going to lose.
See? I told you I'd get it in a second.
Oh, so you got it all figured out, do you? Well then, can you please explain to your grandpa, how come the plane turns when the pilot moves the control stick left and right?
That's easy. The pilot moves the control stick left, and then he gets off the plane and lets his grandpa give him a hard time. Okay, I see where this is going. Explain.
Well, when the pilot moves the control stick left or right, it causes the ailerons to move. One of the ailerons moves up, the other moves down, which increases the lift on one and decreases the lift on the other one. It changes the shape of the wing, and that makes the glider roll around its longitudinal axis. Now, the elevator operates in much the same way. And by the way, so does the...
Oh, I know this. The rudder, which is operated by the pedals. Therefore, the movement of the glider is operated around the three axes: pitch, roll, and yaw.
Well, I see that you did learn something.
Well, I see that someone needs to get ready for their flight.
What? Not so fast. No, it's true you learned what the flight controls are for and what they do, but that is only the beginning.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
Well, you've heard of the Wright brothers, right?
Of course.
Okay, well, the Wright brothers, they studied Lilienthal's writings, and they moved forward from there. They developed the flight control system that you learned about for their airplanes. The Wright brothers discovered that birds stabilize their flight by twisting the tips of their wings. And we use that same principle up to this very day.
Really?
Yes, that's right.
Strange, because I don't recall seeing today's passengers plane flapping their wings.
No, not flapping, twisting. And you're right. Today, they've started using ailerons, but the principle remains the same. And the Wright brothers developed something no less important.
A motor?
Exactly. Then the historic day arrived. It was, I believe it was the 17th of November. Emma, where's my book?
It was December 17th, 1903.
That's it, exactly. That was the day that Orville Wright became the first person to fly on board a motorized aircraft that took off on its own power. The flight lasted about 12 seconds, during which time it covered a distance of 39 meters, and this time it didn't even end in tragedy because it only flew about 3 meters off the ground.
Hey, Grandpa, that's the height even you would agree to fly at.
Ha, very funny.
Well, it says here that according to Wilbur, the older brother, he didn't believe they'd succeed until the very last moment.
I don't blame him. It's hard to believe that the airplane managed to take off with such a tiny motor.
Oh, so we started talking about motors again. Okay, wake me up when you run out of gas.
Well, Emma, if you want to learn how planes fly, you've got to learn about motors. And there's no better place to start than the Wright brothers' motor, which
made history despite being a tiny motor of barely an output of 12 horsepower.
Well, I see somebody's done their homework.
Well, I see that somebody here needs to get ready for their flight.
No, wait. Not so fast. It's one thing just to reel off numbers and figures like that, but what does that really mean, 12 horsepower? Huh? For example, how many horsepower does my car's engine have? about 180 horsepower. Do you understand that my car's engine has about 15 times more horsepower than the Wright brothers' airplane engine?
So what are you saying? They will put wings on your car and it'll fly?
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Wow.
Lilienthal had his takeoff hill, and so did the Wright brothers. Welcome to my testing zone.
Testing zone?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Easy, Emma. Emma, that's enough. Be careful. Yep. You see, gravity is what pulls us down to the earth, right?
Yeah.
But if somebody were to turn off the gravity switch, we'd all fall into the sky.
Whoa. That'd be really cool, just to sort of fly anywhere you wanted. But Grandpa, what are we doing here?
Well, you see, you can overcome Earth's gravity if you have an engine that's powerful enough. And fortunately for us, we do.
So what you're telling me is that you're going to put wings on your car, throw it off the cliff, just to prove a point?
No, the truck's going to be fine. We're just going to meet a few of my friends here.
There's no one here, Grandpa.
Yes, but my friends have special ways of showing up. See?
Wow!
I can't believe it!
Those are the coolest planes ever, Grandpa! Look how tiny they are! They're amazing!
Yeah, but you know, these tiny ultralight airplanes, they have as much power output as the engine of my truck.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Grandpa.
You're not listening to a word I'm saying.
Yeah, that's cool, Grandpa. Look, they're landing. Can we go? Can we take a ride with them?
Oh, there's no way in the world that we're going to take a ride with them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
However, you, on the other hand, are more than welcome to fly with them.
Really?
Yes, it's true you haven't learned completely how a motor works, but you've shown that you're really eager to learn.
Yes! Thank you, Grandpa! Thank you, thank you, thank you!
Go on, go ahead.
The Wright brothers didn't just add a motor, they developed the propeller. The brothers understood that the blades must also resemble the warped wings, which twist and create force in the direction of flight.
Oh, I see. But Grandpa, can you hold on with the explanations for a moment? I'm in the middle of something.
Keep having fun.
Thanks.
If you want to find yourself fishing.
Right.
I'll just add that a piston engine is turning the propeller. The propeller blades turn this rotational force into thrust, which enables the plane to fly at a constant speed, to climb and to maneuver. Come back down. I want to show you something.
Look at these things. They're beautiful, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, this is something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ah, and this one. This is the one. This is the DH Tiger Moth. You know, this is the very first plane I ever took care of. It was the ideal trainer and the peak of technology in my time.
Grandpa, a record player in your time was the peak of technology.
They built thousands of planes just like this during the 30s and the 40s, so that aircraft crews could practice flying. And then after World War II, there was a big surplus, so they had to convert them to other uses, like training civilian pilots, crop dusting, and just for recreation, for fun. And the great thing about this plane was the engine. This engine was a work of genius. I remember the first time I had a chance to get this engine outside the chassis. Emma, I'm telling you that... Emma? Emma?
Sorry, I couldn't wait. All that talking gave me the craving to fly.
Understood. Thinking of the time you have left. Look at that Stearman. Beautiful. So what was so much fun?
You're kidding, right? That's an actual real plane, but it's open. A windshield and that's it. You're completely outside. Your hair blowing in the wind. Well, if you have hair.
Ha ha, very funny.
What's the difference between flying an air cam and flying a Stearman?
Let's just say there are certain things an air cam can't do.
That looks interesting. What does it feel like to fly upside down?
Are you sure I was flying upside down? Because it felt so natural that I'm beginning to think that I've been walking upside down till now.
You know, Grandpa, the explanation sinks in a lot better when you're head down and feet up. You remember our bet, don't you?
Of course. If you learn all about how planes fly, I'll go in a plane with you.
Grandpa, you're gonna lose. We already went through most of the material. If you want to chicken out, now's the time.
Give your grandpa some credit. I saved the hardest material for last, because what you learned up till now was how airplanes used to fly. But today we use jet engines.
Since the age of the Stearman, military aviation has pushed forward the development of the engines known today. These engines allow a plane to reach speeds that propeller motors couldn't even come close to.
They do look powerful.
Needless to say, the flight control systems are adapted to controlling a much more powerful plane.
Huh, it's like dancing in midair.
Jet engines are at the cutting edge of technology. They're now used to transport people all over the globe. Only once you've understood how they work will you be able to say that you really know how a plane flies.
Are you done?
Mm-hmm.
So, how does a jet engine work? The air enters the engine, and inside the engine, the air is accelerated at a high speed and ejected backwards.
When did you have the time?
When I need to know something, I know how to use my afterburners.
All right, but how is that different than the Stearman propeller?
I'm continuing. The air, which is thrusted backwards, actually pushes the plane forward according to Newton's third law of motion.
Every object exerts a force which is equal and opposite to the force...
Grandpa, I'm in the middle.
Sorry.
Let's continue. And this is what happens inside the engine. The air enters the engine through the inlet and is compressed while going through the compressor. Then it goes through the combustion chamber, where it is mixed with jet fuel and ignited. The energy caused by the ignition increases the air pressure, which is thrusted backwards in the form of a jet and released at a very high speed through the nozzle. Yeah, that's what makes the loud noise.
Well done, Emma. You've proven to me that you know how an airplane flies. I'm speechless. I concede defeat. I give up.
Really? You don't have any more tricks? Any more difficult questions up your sleeve?
Well, I do have one question. Is there any chance you let your old grandpa off the hook?
And miss the greatest pleasure in life? I don't think so.
I didn't think so either.
Well, Grandpa, look at it this way. We both learned something. I learned how planes fly. And you?
And I learned not to make any more bets with Emma. This flying is as scary as I thought it would be.
You don't like it? You're welcome to jump off.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.